Are you a parent of a youth athlete between the ages of 10 and 18 and you feel that they are not competing to the best of their abilities? And if so, then this video is for you. So sports parents, have you ever used phrases like the words like mental toughness or focus or confidence when you speak to your athlete about their compete level? But have you ever stopped to ask yourself, what do these terms really mean? And more importantly, how do they actually apply to athletic development? Now, if you don't understand them, then how is your athlete going to understand them when you speak about them? Now, have you ever experienced your athlete struggle in their competitions from a lack of confidence or anxiety, or do they get emotionally deregulated after a mistake and you just don't know how to help them? Well, I specialize in teaching athletes and parents skills about how they can build their confidence and overcome these mental challenges so that they can compete to the best of their abilities and have increased enjoyment in sports. Now, hello everyone. My name is Brian McSparron. I'm a mental sports performance coach and the owner of Superior Sports Psyche. And welcome to this YouTube series for sports parents, where I'm going to break down some of the most important terms related to the mental game of sport. Now, if you have an athlete between the ages of 10 and 18, this series will be for you. Now, the mental side of sport, unfortunately, is often thrown aside when it comes to athletic development, where in fact it is the most critical part of athletic development. Sports are often described as 90% mental, but athletes spend less than 5% of their time developing this part of the game. Instead, athletes rather train to become bigger and faster and stronger, but little time is used to develop their confidence, their concentration, or their mindset, which is the driving force in athletic development. So parents, if you really want your athlete to step up their sports game, then get them to learn the skills of the mental game. Now, the physical part of development can be measured, but the mental game, that's pretty much subjective. So since it can't be measured, why should we focus on it? Well, simply, the mental game is what drives the physical. And more often than not, the athlete doesn't struggle with the physical part of the game. No, instead, it's the mental side that tells them that they're not good enough to go out there and play. Or maybe they get so nervous that they feel like they're going to vomit. Or even worse, it's when they make a mistake, they're afraid and they just don't want to compete anymore. Now, parents, have you experienced these things with your athlete before? And I bet you have. And as I've gone through the same challenges with my own two kids. Now, I'm here to let you know, when you approach the game with a different perspective of training and understanding that there is a direct correlation between your athlete's mental game and their performance, then your athlete can begin to show true progress in their development. So in this video and over the next few videos, I'm going to walk you through some 5 key areas of the mental game: confidence and self-belief, focus and concentration, emotional control, motivation and mindset, and recovery and mental health. And in each video, I'm going to define some important mental game terms and show you how they show up in sport. And from here, hopefully you can see the relationship of how the mental game affects your athletes' on-field performance. But today we're going to kick things off with terms related to confidence and self-belief. And this is one of the most misunderstood, but yet the most powerful tool that an athlete can have in their development. So let's dive into confidence and self-belief. Now, the first word that I'm going to use to address is the word confidence. Now, when I speak to parents and coaches, the number one topic that always comes up is, how can my athletes become more confident? Can you relate to that question? See, confidence is the driving force when it comes to athletic performance and progression in their sport. And without it, athletes will struggle to perform, and thus they will find less enjoyment in their game. So let's define confidence. Confidence is a belief that a person has in their ability to perform a skill or a task successfully. Now, confident athletes believe in themselves. They expect that when they take the field or the court, they're going to succeed, even when doubt begins to enter their mind, because they're able to rid themselves of these doubts by controlling their self-talk. So for an example, a volleyball player who is serving in a pressure situation just missed her last serve. How confident is she going to be in herself to be able to get that next serve in? Or is she going to begin to question her abilities? See, confidence athletes understand that mistakes will happen, but the mistake will not change the way they approach a situation. So confidence athletes trust their abilities, and because they trust themselves and their abilities to be able to perform calmly and freely, they'll be able to continue to take risks no matter the game situation. Now, when your athlete is competing, are they able to perform with confidence? Do they trust their abilities, or do they hold back when the situation arises? Well, just like any physical sports skill that can be developed, confidence can also be developed. And it begins by developing the proper athletic mindset, which will be explained in a later video. So after confidence, the next term we want to use is the word confidence boosters. Now, confidence boosters, these are thoughts and routines or maybe actions that will help build and reinforce your athlete's belief in themselves. See, when parents ask about ways to increase their athlete's confidence level, I explain ways that will be utilized confidence boosters. Now, these are skills that the athlete will learn to help them to be able to compete and feel confidence in their performance. And when an athlete learns and uses confidence boosters, this will help them to take ownership in their overall development. So for an example, a basketball player might watch basketball clips of the best plays before a game, or they can repeat a positive phrases like, "I'm built for this moment." See, we want athletes to develop the feeling of confidence, and when they feel confident, they can perform with confidence. And when athletes develop and believe in their confidence boosters, it will help fuel them and allow them to compete when negative thoughts pop into their head. So parents, you can begin by helping your athlete by taking those video clips that you have on your phone and make a little short 30 to 60 second highlight reel. And then the night before a game, have your athlete watch the highlight reel and ask them to visualize that same success in their next competition. And this is going to lead us into the next term, which is the opposite of the boosters, and that is confidence killers. Now, I speak to athletes all the time that the reason that they are struggling to compete with confidence is because they are killing their own confidence. Anytime an athlete speaks about their performance, but all they focus on is the negatives, or they say something positive, but then they add the words, "yeah, but," they are disregarding what they just accomplished. Now, confidence killers are these habits or these thoughts that just chip away at the athlete's self-belief. And if an athlete has a negative view of themselves, how can they compete with confidence? They can't do it. Now, if your athlete likes to compare themselves to others, "I got 5 points, but Johnny, he got 15 points. Or they speak harshly about themselves. "I can't win this race because I'm not fast enough." They are instantly destroying their abilities to have success in sport. Now, I call confidence killers the little silent killers because they are not always obvious when you see them, but they add up immensely. So parents, listen to how your athlete is speaking about themselves. If you hear them talking negatively, point it out on how they are hurting their chances of success just by thinking and talking the way that they speak about themselves. Most of the times, athletes don't even know that they're doing this. The awareness is the first step in protecting your athlete's mindset. Now, this is going to lead us into the next important term that affects an athlete's level of confidence, and that's our inner critic. Now, the inner critic is the little voice in our head that focuses on what we're doing wrong. And we all have to fight our inner critic. Now, an athlete's inner critic might sound like anger. Thus, they begin to start competing with fear, and they're afraid to make mistakes. Or it leads to them questioning themselves, where they compare themselves to others. Now, an athlete's inner critic can become so powerful that it will lead them to think that they have to be able to play perfect. So for example, a soccer player misses a pass and immediately thinks, man, I suck. The coach is probably going to bench me now. That's their inner critic talking to them. Now, that inner critic is such a mental weight that holds the athlete down in their development in sport. Now, have you heard your athlete's inner critic? How does it show up in their games or in their competitions? See, when athletes begin to voice their inner critic, I usually just ask them, do they believe this? Is this true or not? See, most of the time, the inner critic is not based in reality. Now, the next term is going to be an activity that I use for athletes to help shape the athlete's belief system. And it's an easy activity that you can do with your athlete. And this is called a confidence journal. Now, confidence journal is a tool where athletes will write down their daily wins, and it reminds them of what they're good at. Now, these journals are used to help reinforce the athlete that they are on a journey in their development and that each day is a small step in getting to where they want to be. So for an example, a track runner might write, well, I hit my target time in practice today. Or the coach praised my sprint start. See, these small wins will help remind them of their progress. Now, confidence is rooted in evidence. And for athletes, the journal becomes a highlight reel as they can look back on where they were and where they are now. Now, if you're interested in getting your athlete to learn the skills of journaling, which I believe is important, then please click out and check out my 1% Sports Journal book, where I walk through the athletes through how to use a journal as a way to help increase their performance and develop a sense of confidence. Now, the link for the journal book is listed in the description below. So here are my first 5 important terms when we talk about confidence and self-belief in sport. In the next video, I'm going to do part 2, and I'm going to share some other terms that are used when speaking about confidence. Now, if you found this video to be valuable, please make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss the next part of the series. And remember to check the link below for that 1% Sports Journal books. So until then, I'll see you in the next video.